Okay, today we're looking at 6.2, which is writing and solving proportions. Okay, a proportion is just an equation that states that two ratios are equivalent. If you look at this example, I've got the ratio 2/3, 2 to 3. I've got the ratio 8 to 12. And notice these fractions are equivalent fractions. This is what is called a proportion. You've seen this before and you thought nothing of it, but it is a proportion. Okay, and what we're going to be doing today is solving proportions or finding unknowns in a proportion. If one of the numbers in a proportion is unknown, you can solve the proportion to find the unknown number. One way to solve a proportion is use mental math to find an equivalent ratio. So let's look over here. Okay, what we want to do is we want to look at basically what we're doing. We're going to solve for x, but you can think of it as changing the denominator, finding when we have to remember when we have to get common denominators, we'll change the denominator. This is basically the same thing here, where we want to see how many times 7 goes into 21. Well, 7 times 3 is 21. So if I multiply this times 3, I get what x is, which is 6. Pretty simple. Same here. If I'm changing the denominator, 8 times 4 is 32. So 3 times 4 is 12. X equals 12. Okay, again here, since the x is here, we can either go this way or we can go this direction. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. 2 goes into 10 5 times, right? So x times 5 must equal 20. Well, what does x have to be? Well, x has to be 4. Okay, going the other direction, I would say 10 divided by 5 is 2, so 20 divided by 5 is 4. Let's look at this one. This is the x. Let's go this direction. 12 goes into 48 how many times? Well, 4 times. So 6 times 4 must be what x equals, which is 24. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Now this we're not going to solve using mental math, even though we could. We're going to use algebra. So this is something we did at the last part of the last chapter. We've got x over 25, and we want to solve this equation using algebra. So I want to get rid of the 25. So this is like we're just solving equations here. One step, okay? 25's cancel. I get x equals 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. X equals 10. Okay, and when it says use algebra to solve, you have to show your work. This isn't mental math, so you can't just put an answer. You have to show your work. Okay, same here. I want to get rid of the 100, so I multiply each side by 100. Okay, these cancel. X equals 10 goes into 100 10 times, so 10 times 3 is 30. Again, very simple. Yes, we could use mental math, but no, we're not going to. We're going to solve by algebra. I want to get rid of the 9, so I'm going to multiply by 9. I do the opposite of what's being done to the x. Multiply by 9 here. Okay, 9's cancel. I get x equals. Well, 9, that becomes a 1. This becomes a 6, because 9 times 6 is 54, right? Well, 6 goes into, I've got 42 over 6. 42 divided by 6 is 7. Okay, here I want to get rid of the 4. Multiply each side by 4. That goes away. X, where it becomes 1. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 13 is 26. And that's using algebra. We're just basically getting rid of the denominator when we do this. Pretty simple. Stuff you know how to do. Let's look at a word problem. You know that 3 pizzas are enough to feed 12 people. Write and solve 2 different proportions to find the number of pizzas that will feed 28 people. Okay, I'm going to set this up 2 different ways, but you're going to get the same answer either way you set it up. So I can make a ratio, 3 pizzas to 12 people. Okay, and I can make that like this, 3 to 12. And I want to know how many pizzas it will take to feed 28 people. Well, this is up top, these are pizzas, right? I said 3 pizzas to 12 people. So if I've got pizzas on top here, I need to have pizzas on top here. Pizzas, the number of pizzas, that's the unknown. So that's x, 28 people down here. And I can solve this proportion. The thing I want you to see here is that I've got people on the bottom here, and I have people on the bottom here. I have pizzas on the top here, and I have pizzas on the top over here. Okay, you've got to line up the data, and it's got to be correct the way you do it. There's another way to do it. Okay, let's keep pizzas on one side and people on the other. Well, I've got 3 pizzas to X number of pizzas should be the same as 12 people to 28 people. Okay, notice I have 3 pizzas, 12 people. This data is connected. Then I have how many pizzas for 28 people. So either way, this can be set up either way. I think it would be easier probably to do it like this for you. But either way, for what we're doing today, this is probably the best way. So what I'm going to do is multiply each side by 28. Okay, 12. What goes into 12 and 28? Well, that's going to be, let's see, that's going to be 2, 4, yeah, and that's going to be a 3. 4 goes into 28 7 times. Okay, 7 times 3 is 21. I get 21 over 3 equals x. Well, 21 divided by 3 is 7. So it would take 7 pizzas. Okay, and if I solve this, the x is on the bottom, so you're not really used to seeing this. I wouldn't suggest doing it this way right now. We'll do that in the next section. But x will equal 7 either way. You set it up and solve it. Okay, 7 pizzas. Let's look at another one. Yesterday you rode your bike 18 miles in 2.5 hours. Today you plan to ride your bike for 3.5 hours. If you ride it at the same rate as yesterday, how far will you ride? So I had 18 miles in 2.5 hours, right? Um, and I want to know how many miles I'll go in 3.5 hours. Okay, so you see here, I've got miles on top, hours on bottom, miles on top, hours on bottom. There's also another way we can set that up. I've got 18 miles to the unknown amount of miles. Then I've got 2.5 hours to 3.5 hours. Okay, again, 18 and 2.5 are on the top. Then I have the unknown amount of miles with 3.5 on the bottom. Either way, the data has to match up. Okay, if I got miles on top on this side, I need miles on top on this side. Okay, and the ratio has to match. So if 18 miles has to be connected with 2.5 hours, which it is right here. Okay, so we'll get into how we solve this tomorrow, but simply to solve this, I'd multiply both sides by 3.5. Okay, and then divide, and I've got x is equal to something. I'm not going to do that right now, but basically you can see how to set up a proportion from a word problem. I believe that is it for today.